3 years ago, I set out to construct the most powerful nootropic stack for focus, motivation, and sheer cognitive horsepower. I logged hundreds of hours, sampled endless amounts of cognitive performance chemicals, and ran beta tests with soldiers from the United States Army. And after massive experimentation and ruthless trial and error, my work had finally paid off. I found what I was looking for.
You know, it's funny because regular folks don't think about energy, brain performance energy, in the context of nootropics. They don't think about it in the context of neuroanatomy is what I'm trying to say. They just think it's mental energy, like 5-hour energy, the drink 5-hour energy. It's an energy drink to them, right? But 5-hour energy has L-tyrosine in it, which makes a couple neurotransmitters, right? And it's an endocrine system modulator via the thyroid gland. But regular folks don't talk about it like that. A professor from a well-known major university in California buys the Cortex stack, every month or so. He's just been buying. He's actually one of our first customers. When I saw the address of the university, I was like, interesting. College student maybe, but then he got in contact with me and he's like, this stuff rocks. I'm a professor, I'm a 55-year-old man, and this stuff really rocks. That was our first conversation. We didn't talk about neuroanatomy. He mentioned what kind of professor he was, which is not a professor that has anything to do with neuroscience or biochemistry or any of this stuff. He hit me up recently. I see orders from him basically every month. He takes the stack and he's like, dude, my prefrontal cortex has become alive again. And this is what's cool about this, because regular folks like that have nothing to do with neurochemistry, or just regular folks that don't think about nootropics, don't think about it in the context of neuroanatomy. But this guy either has some sort of background in it or went and researched it, but explained to me he probably got the benefit. His brain was working good. His frontal lobes were bubbling up with energy and bubbling up with focus. And he felt different and he felt better and his brain was coming alive. And he probably went and Googled it and was like, that's the prefrontal cortex. These are the frontal lobes. Or he was a neuroscience major or something. I have no idea. Prior to what he does now, which is totally different. It's like gender studies or something. And that was just music to my ears. It's kind of cool to me to see people getting into nootropics, getting the Cortex stack, and then getting into nootropics in general and starting to understand neuroanatomy. That's fascinating. I've always said, from 10 years ago, before I even thought about building a stack, 2 years before I even took nootropics, when I was meditating and getting into neuroscience and these sorts of things, I always thought people should know neuroanatomy, at least to some extent, to understand how to modulate it, what's going on, what the amygdala is, what the frontal lobes are, how happiness and the left prefrontal cortex are correlated, all these sorts of things. So if you want your frontal lobes to bubble up with power, Secure Bottle of the Cortex nootropic stack, you're going to love it if you respond well to it. We made a stack that is not subtle. Experience total mental dominance. LiveCortex.com, for it's being called the only pre-made stack that actually works for people. Okay, people have asked me, can we talk about stress, mood, and related things, and sleep and anxiety. Yeah, I just started taking a sleep stack. It's by Jarrow. Everybody knows Jarrow. Jarrow's a great company. And I have no affiliation with them, but great company, great stuff. And they make this product called Sleep Optimizer, right? Jarrow Sleep Optimizer. And in it, you've got valerian root, very powerful tranquilizer, at very high doses, which is why they did a killer move and only put it at 400 milligrams per 2 capsules, which is great. If you take 1 capsule, you're getting 200 milligrams of it. 2 capsules is merely 400 milligrams. Once you go to 800 and 1,000, that's when it really gets very, 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 very calming. It's very, very sedative, but not in these doses. It's got L-tryptophan, which is a couple stages before serotonin. You've got tryptophan, then you've got 5-HTP, then you got serotonin, nervous system regulator, in the enteric nervous system in the gut, helps gut motility, calms you down. Then you've got hops and lemon balm. Hops and lemon balm are 2 herbs known for treating, I think it's lemon balm that treats digestive disorders, but also induces sleep. Same with hops, induces sleep, and is used traditionally as an anxiety support herb. Very powerful stuff. Hops and lemon balm. Stuff that I actually, before getting this stack and taking it and being like, wow, this works really good for getting me to sleep and keeping me asleep, these are things I never researched. Then it's got pharma GABA in it, so I'm not sure if they sort of make that a little more bioavailable, a little more able to cross the BBB. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter if GABA crosses the blood-brain barrier or not. People are not thinking about the enteric nervous system, which obviously is part of the general sort of central nervous system. You get the enteric nervous system, parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system, and the enteric nervous system is in your gut. But your gut and the GABA receptors in your gut communicate with your brain. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I take GABA, if I were to take a GABA supplement, I certainly respond to it. I feel a lot calmer. It is mostly in my cardiovascular system, and kind of I can feel it a little bit in my gut, but it's mostly like here in the cardiovascular system. But that calms the rest of me down and ends up calming my brain down too, right? I understand picamillan and crossing the blood-brain barrier, but you take GABA and you're going to get an effect. People forget there are GABA receptors all over the gut, everywhere. It affects breathing, your bronchial tubes, all this stuff. And then it also has melatonin, but 0.3 milligrams, which is right around what you make at nighttime. People talk about taking like 3 milligrams, 6 milligrams melatonin, and then they wonder why they wake up in the middle of the night and it messes with their sleep-wake cycle. It's too much. You don't make that much. You make like somewhere around 0.3 milligrams, and that's what they put in here. Jarrow, everybody knows like Jarrow. Should try to get into the camera. Jarrow is an incredible company. They make good supplements, and they have good quality stuff. Again, no affiliation, but I just like them because I know what's good and what isn't. And what really makes a supplement, I mean, this is the thing that we really put finesse with the Cortex nootropic compound. What really makes a supplement is finessing the ingredients. It's got to be perfect. Too much valerian root, it's a tranquilizer, right? Just the right amount of valerian root, it's easy and nice to sleep, calms the nervous system down, calms the body down. Too much GABA, like too much GABA in a supplement, for some people induces breathing issues, right? Because you've got GABA receptors everywhere. It'll kind of calm the airways so much that you'll be like sort of not hard to breathe, but you won't want to have the drive to breathe. It actually slows down like the diaphragmatic sort of drive to breathe. A lot of GABA, too much GABA. So they've got the right amount. It's 100 milligrams. If you take, it's 2 capsules. If you take 1 capsule at 8, then another at 11 to sort of gradually work your way down, which is what I do. You're only getting 50 milligrams of GABA a pop, which is perfect. Then you got the lemon balm and the hops, L-tryptophan, valerian root. Yeah, and then melatonin. So they made an incredible sleep stack here. People have been asking me about sleep and stress. I take 1 at 8 and then 1 at 11 p.m. of Jarrow Sleep Optimizer, and then, yeah, legit, I start to feel the calm at like 8:30. But I can still function. I'm still doing my thing, but I'm starting to calm down the nervous system in the body. I think you really need to do that when you're heading in that direction toward later in the night. Unless you're going to take some sort of nootropic and you got some work to crank out, and then yeah, you might have trouble sleeping that night, or where you just got to deal with it because you're going to work. But for me, I mean, these days, I'm really trying to calm everything down by 8 because I've gotten a lot done prior to that. I take another one of these at 11, and I got to tell you guys, people have been asking me, what's your sleep stack? Lately, it's this. And when I go to sleep, I just drift off. It's so cool and calm. I do not have a problem falling asleep. I stay asleep. I wake up refreshed. It's pretty powerful. Thanks for watching.